Hello, everyone. Today we will be talking about the French and Indian War. And essentially, the French and Indian War is a war where Great Britain fought France. And right here is the area that they fought over. France thought this was their land. Great Britain thought it was theirs, so they fought each other. So where we left off is we had the three colonial regions, New England, Mid-Atlantic, and Southern colonies. And the one thing they had all in common was the belief in private property, free enterprise, and they are all British colonists. And we're going to start talking about some problems with the British Empire and its colonists. People from England living in the Americas did not just trade with England. Colonists traded with France, Spain, Holland, and others. And England did not make money when colonists traded with other countries. So England passes the Navigation Acts. These are rules that England gave the colonists. And because England wasn't making money, they passed these acts. And all goods must be shipped in English or colonial ships. So it can't be a Spanish boat, it has to be an English boat. 75% of the crew had to be English or colonial. And the English colonists could export certain products, for example, tobacco, only to England. So if you had tobacco, you can't send it to Spain, you can't send it to France, you had to send it to England. And England taxed all goods traded between colonists and other European countries. So if colonists wanted to trade with France, it was taxed. If colonists wanted to trade with Holland, it was taxed. England really only wanted them to trade within the country. And the self-government in the colonies, so the English did not enforce the Navigation Acts, leading the colonists to set up their own forms of government. So the colonies had their own governments. Each colony had a governor. Their job included appointing, dismissing judges. They monitored trade, and they disbanding the local assembly. And more about their self-government, each colony had an assembly. For example, Virginia had the House of Burgesses. They were elected by colonists, which you had to be a land-owning white male to vote. So not everybody could vote, just land-owning white males. And the assemblies wrote laws. They controlled money. However, New England had town meetings and the Mayflower Compact. Remember, they had direct democracy. So now the French and Indian War is about to start. It's a war between France and Britain. And it's caused because both Great Britain and France wanted control of the Ohio River Valley. And both countries wanted to expand their empires. Great Britain won the French and Indian War. And Great Britain controlled all of Canada and all of North America east of the Mississippi River. And the Proclamation of 1763 was issued, and this says westward expansion by settlers beyond the Appalachian Mountains is prohibited, not allowed. So you're not allowed to move west of the Appalachian Mountains. And they started having new taxes on legal documents, tea, and sugar to pay for the cost of the war. One thing about war is it's very expensive, so the British are going to start taxing. And this just shows a map. To the left is before the war. After the war, you can see France is no longer here, and Britain takes over all of this area over here. So now it taxes. The French Indian War was very expensive and cost England a lot of money. To help pay the war debt, England started to tax the colonists. And England also had to pay for troops to stay in the colonies in case the French attacked again. And here are some of the taxes. There was the Sugar Act of 1764. So Britain started charging a tax on molasses, a type of sugar, which made it difficult for people in New England to sell their rum. A Quartering Act of 1764. This act required that a homeowner had to allow soldiers into their house for free. And they had to provide food to the soldiers for free as well. So this wasn't a tax, but if the British Army came into your neighborhood, you had to let them stay at your house. And the Stamp Act of 1765 required that colonists pay a tax on every piece of paper that was used. Then the Townshend Acts, these were a series of laws that started in 67 that places taxes on items such as lead, paint, oil. And then the last one, Tea Act of 1773. This act made colonists pay a tax on tea. And how would you react to these taxes? Something called the Boston Massacre occurred in 1770. Many colonists from Boston went to protest the presence of English soldiers that were in Boston. The colonists yelled at the British soldiers, threw sticks and also snowballs at them. And the British soldiers shot into the crowd and killed 5 people and injured many more. Many colonists were upset about the Boston Massacre. And this is a photo you're going to see a lot, but it is a photo of the Boston Massacre. The guys in the red suits over here are British soldiers, and they're shooting into the crowd of protesters. Next is the Boston Tea Party. And on December 16th, 1773, angry colonists dressed up as Native Americans and dumped tea off of English ships. You can see them dressed up as natives over here. And remember, there's a tax on tea. They're upset about the tax, so they're throwing all the tea into the ocean. In the English response to the Boston Tea Party, Britain was very upset at the Boston Tea Party and made the Boston Port Act in 1774. As a result, the British closed the Boston Harbor, which prevented the colonists from trading and making money. They also demanded that the people of Boston pay a total of $1 million for dumping the tea. So you can see Britain was upset. And the English response to the Boston Tea Party continued. England also did not allow Massachusetts to govern themselves after the Boston Tea Party. Boston is a city that's in Massachusetts. So England was so upset, Massachusetts can no longer govern themselves. England started taking over their government, and England was in charge of making all of the laws for Massachusetts, not the people of Massachusetts, which upset many of them. So as you can tell, the colonists are starting to get more and more upset with the British. And in the next class or two, we're going to talk about the American Revolution, where we are going to declare independence. We're no longer want to be part of England, and we're going to go to war with them, fight them until they become free. If you have any questions, let me know.